This is what's pissing me off today. I'm Bob Pritchard. Well, in our news, we have another story about an e-bike that's been involved in a collision with a vehicle on our roadways. This is not a good line of news to be covering. Not good for many reasons, especially for the poor soul that was driving that e-scooter, because at the end of the discussion, when a car or truck hits an e-scooter, you know who's going to be on the short end of the situation. Now, more importantly than all of that, e-scooters have found themselves a home in many locales simply on the basis that they don't seem to fit in anywhere than, like with a car or a truck, and you don't need a license, and you're not really a pedestrian, you're not really a bicycle, you're not really much of anything, and there's not really much of any regulations covering what they can or cannot do. I know I've been driving along and seeing an e-scooter tearing down the sidewalk doing, 20 or 30 kilometers an hour. My poor little mind's working its way through, what happens if they fall over? That's got to be a real, heartbreak, if not an arm break or a leg break. Now we talk about them going out on the roadways. Hey, you're taking on vehicles that can easily do 60, 80, 100, 120 kilometers an hour. Your e-bike really can't keep up in any way, shape, or form. So there you are out there saving yourself a couple of minutes, duking it out in traffic. And as a result of the lack of training, lack of speed, lack of safety, lack of pretty much anything that makes any sense, there's this e-scooter going along, taking their lives in their hands. Now, it's not just driving along the roadways that are presenting problems. The way they make these things is, they put relatively high-priced batteries in them. Given that the world production of batteries has dropped off, the price has dropped off quite substantially if you go to the cheapies. So people go out and buy the cheapies, put them in their e-bikes, and, what's the next thing you know? The e-bike's on fire. Well, if it's happening out in the middle of nowhere, it's an inconvenience. If it's happening on a subway, that's a major problem. And that has happened on the Toronto transit system. So bottom line on it is, I think the government needs to get their little doo-doos in a row, get these e-bikes off the sidewalks, because pedestrians are walking there. They can only go, 4 or 5 kilometers an hour, so you go tearing along on your e-bike. It wouldn't take a lot to have a collision and put a poor pedestrian in hospital, if not everybody involved. And that's what's pissing me off today. I'm Bob Pritchard.